I'm Dr. Anthony Harper here, blessed to be in the Knesset with Noga Arbel.
Yeah.
Please explain your special role here in Israel, what you're involved with.
I did Foreign Office Intelligence for 14 years. My first day out of the civil service was the 8th of October 2023, because I had quit my government job a month prior because I felt that the message wasn't getting across. I had a very important report that was buried under the explanation that we shouldn't show it to the minister because it might confuse him. And I felt that if that is the case, if the people that I'm supposed to be serving in order to serve Israeli democracy aren't actually getting the information that they need, then I'm not doing my job as an Israeli citizen, and I didn't want to be a part of that. And I spent 14 years in Israeli intelligence. I did some work for the IDF during COVID, and I did 14 years at the Foreign Office, and it feels like intelligence a lot of the time has less to do with the information that you are collecting and presenting, and more to do with reframing it so that decision makers would do what you want them to do. I didn't feel that was my role as an intelligence officer. I feel what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to be serving the people who are elected to make decisions, and I didn't want to be a part of that. And just so happens that I quit exactly a month. I gave my notice exactly a month before the war started. So the first thing I did was I did a lot of hasbara at the beginning of the war, but also the main project that I had going is UNRWA. For the first year of the war, the purpose was to get to a point where Israeli decision makers make the decision to destroy UNRWA, which is the most subversive notion that is the essence of the international objection, so the effective international objection to the existence of the State of Israel. It was an uphill battle, I'll tell you that. Because it's amazing how many Israelis you have to convince, not of that. I don't think there are Israelis that would debate that UNRWA is a problem. It's just that a lot of Israelis don't understand that we have an absolute right to kick UNRWA out. The concept of sovereignty in Israel has been subverted to where Israelis really do feel that they're somehow subjugated to anti-Semitic notions around us, and we're not free, to form our own lives in the way that we believe they should be. That's a horrible sense of slavery and subjugation that I'm absolutely against. And what I've been doing, I guess ever since the 8th of October 2023, is policy. Not necessarily a particular area of policy, but rather identifying the fault lines within the Israeli decision-making structure and process, and trying to formulate ways to make for the decision-making process and application to be more effective. So I guess I've been providing assistance to a fight against the deep state, so that we get back to a place where the people who are elected to make decisions are actually the ones making them, and we don't have it's not even the question of unappointed officials. The problem isn't the people who are making the decisions are. It's that the decisions that are being made are not in service of the Israeli people. And it's all back office, clandestine sort of, okay, we'll do it and we'll explain it to you later. Don't worry your pretty little head about it. Sort of, I don't want to live in that sort of country. So what I do is I identify which legislation needs to be corrected in a myriad of subjects and how it is to be corrected, because even the legislation process in of itself has been corrupted in Israel to a very great degree. And we spent the last 6 months just analyzing the difference between what the legislation process is supposed to be by law and what it actually is. And now we're trying to slowly educate members of Knesset to understand that a lot of things that they're told that they can't do is actually not true. They absolutely can't. My least favorite phrase in the Hebrew language, especially in this building, in Knesset, is "Ze lo oved kacha." It doesn't work that way. It's like, this is the legislature. If something doesn't work that way, we can change it. It is literally the purpose of this place. So we're trying to get Israeli lawmakers to understand their responsibility and their ability to do it. And since we have a judicial branch, not to mention the fact that we have a state's attorney, and we only have one state, it's not on the federal level, that is basically acting as a political party and is abusing his authority in order to subvert and circumvent the voice of the people and what the people actually want by filing charges that are getting more and more outrageous and bogus against elected officials. Then you can understand how a deterrence against members of Knesset doing their role has been established. So what we're trying to do is get back to a place where in this country elected decision makers can actually make decisions. And I guess that's the best description for what it is that I do is.
Thank you so much, Noga, for sharing your special perspective here. Thank you. I'm Dr. Anthony Harper here in the Knesset, blessed to be with Shvi Shalem, and pleased to share with our audience your special role, about the education issue, UNESCO, UNRWA.
Yeah, all right. So Israel has a UNESCO problem, right? Israel noticed we have a problem with UNESCO. Israel left UNESCO because it's obviously anti-Zionist. It tries to strip away any connection between, any historical connection between Israel, between the Jewish people and Israel. And so Israel left UNESCO. But educational programs in Israel still work with UNESCO. We have teacher training colleges who work with UNESCO. And so we have an organization who's obviously anti-Israel, anti-Zionist, and has an absolutely different agenda, which is in conflict not only with Israel, but with Western values in general. And we have that still in our educational system. So I'm part of a movement to help remedy this ridiculous and dangerous situation.
It's a very important issue because President Trump had pulled out of UNESCO and defunded UNRWA.
Yeah.
And so, what would you like to share specifically about our audience, maybe even President Trump, on this matter?
Okay, so UNESCO is not only a threat to Israeli identity and security and future. UNESCO is, you can see in UNESCO what I call the interdisciplinary authority blending. So we have this movement of trying to, this kind of power grab, tries to take authority from all different places. It's talking in the name of science, in the name of representing some oppressed group or other, which of course there were no elections of black people to elect the Black Studies program, and no elections of all women to elect the Women's Studies programs, and so on, or indigenous or whatever. So we have this basic, false representation narrative. That's the basis for a false morality. And on the basis of that, through the university, they got these academic reputation, doing these all kinds of grievance studies, what they're called now. And so we have the blending of false moral authority and also false scientific authority. And now it's blending. And now we also have this in UNESCO, which tries to get all kinds of other forms of authority, specifically some sort of moral kind of authority based on saving the planet, right? So I think we should remember what's happening in these institutions is actually an implementation of a set plan. If you know Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals,
Yes.
he has a section. He says it very clearly. He says, first choose an issue that everybody agrees on, and the example he gives is pollution. And once you have people in this movement of against pollution, of course, everybody's against pollution, then he says it's a small step towards talking about political pollution or Pentagon pollution. So that's exactly what you have with this UN agenda called Agenda 2030. They're taking this authority of we're saving the planet and doing something completely different with it. And this also connects with UNESCO. UNESCO plays a role in this interdisciplinary authority blending, or in simple, just the power blob. So you have this document from UNESCO. It's pretty amazing. It's called Knowledge-Driven Actions. And in that document, they explicitly say they want a sustainability officer or committee to decide what the university cannot research. Okay, this is black and white, obviously infringing upon academic freedom. I mean, it's really black and white. In the same document, they start up with saying that Herbert Marcuse, like the big neo-Marxist, a one-dimensional man, Herbert Marcuse's vision was not fully implemented, and now through Agenda 2030 we can do that. So it's actually not even a secret that they're trying to use this Agenda 2030 as another source of authority to push forward their agenda. The agenda is breaking down all national identities, so people can identify with being a citizen of the globe, which means citizen of the UN. And another document, amazing document from UNESCO, it's called SEL for SDG. SEL, if you whoever didn't hear about it, it's social emotional learning, which originally was meant as to help students, to have a specific student with a specific problem and help him. But UNESCO sees social emotional learning as a way to turn the students into change agents. They actually don't say student in that document, they say change agent. And so it's, if you actually look into the sources of UNESCO and other global institutions and whatever, many places now, you can see they're taking authority from various places like science and detaching it from its the internal constraints of that authority. So science has its obvious constraints, has to connect to reality, but they're taking the name science and doing something completely different with it. I'll just give one more example here. You have the International Council of Science that in 2015 looked at the Agenda 2030 and said, whoa, this is not science. Only 29% is science-based. It's not coherent. That the goals conflict. These are Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. So that's 2015. Then 2018, the International Council of Science was combined with the social sciences. And now, if you look at their website, you can see they're talking about the need to push forward needed narratives. So the International Council of Science, we see in 2015 it was doing science. It was criticizing programs that did not make sense scientifically, and now it's a rubber stamp for Agenda 2030. And so we have this fake authority in science and education, and representing the environment, representing the oppressed, and it's all just about power. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up that book about Saul Alinsky about Rules for Radicals.
Yeah.
Interesting, for all of you that have not read that book, at the very beginning of the book, he said he dedicated this book to Lucifer, the greatest rebel of all. And he supported rebellion. I'm glad that you pointed out this issue of this. I think we talked about earlier about indoctrination, about propaganda,
Yeah.
and how Saul Alinsky has redefined reality, trying to convince people of a false narrative.
Yeah.
And it is so important to address that. And I thank you for sharing that and for sharing your concerns on these matters. For President Trump, he understands the threat UNESCO plays and UNRWA, and he has cut off the support
Yeah.
for them, which is very unique, and it continues to be an issue that to be exposed. And thank you for sharing these important issues.
Thank you.
Here from Jerusalem in the Knesset, Dr. Anthony Harper here, blessed to be in Israel in the Knesset building, and your name Yuval Gat. Yeah, and especially how are you involved with currently with exposing the problems related to UNESCO, UNRWA, and you mentioned some other work that you're doing.
Well, I research the tension in public policy between Zionism and woke Marxism. And in Israel we have a very long time going infiltration of Marxist ideology and foreign elements that determine agendas through using unelected bureaucrats. The same as you would see with UNESCO. If we heard in the hearing with Elise Stefanik questioning the head of Harvard, Claudine Gay, and remember the comment about the context, and remember that at the 8th of October the students didn't cry about the massacre of Jews, but cried in support of Hamas. And the reason that I see the similarities here is the same agenda that is pushed by UNESCO is that agenda that is taught by Claudine Gay and her fellow travelers. And you asked about UNRWA. So UNRWA was established in 1950, and it didn't have certain capacities, and they linked UNRWA to collaborate with another a United Nations institution that would help it with educational proficiencies, and that organization was UNESCO. So when we look at this 75-year relationship between UNESCO and UNRWA, we see that the knowledge that is pushed forward, the indoctrination, is that Marxification, the Nazification of the community. So you have a 12-year-old kid that instead of learning about his liberties, about human rights, about history, he's been taught to hate. You see that woman with that garb that he identifies as Jewish, he knows that that's the woman he should attack because she's being dehumanized by UNRWA and UNESCO. So we're dealing with that same element that the Trump administration is trying to deal with in Harvard, Columbia, and so forth, that we've noticed in the latest cases, paying severances to students for going over, I think, Title IX in America. So this is the same frequency. This is the same global religion, and I think in Israel we don't have the same transparency that is offered to parents in schools. We don't have the regional committees that you can ask and request for accountability. So we try to do this in parliamentary hearings here in Israel, and we're trying to encourage more awareness of what is really happening, because when you look at it, the same techniques that are being used by UNRWA for Nazification of the children is the same techniques that have been used by the likes of Claudine Gay in American universities, and are the same techniques that are being used in education faculties in Israel and afterwards in our schools. It's all localized to fit the right cultural context. And if you would try to I recognize the algorithm, then what makes American children cry Black Lives Matter is, if you strip it away, the same radicalization that is happening in Israeli schools and in UNRWA schools, just all localized to the cultural context of each group. And it's a great moral travesty that instead of teaching children about their heritage, about past wisdom, about godly morals, they are being taught to hate, to feel instead of think, and it's like a cult. And I think when someone wants to free you, it's called liberation theology, of your heritage, of your social structures, like family, like school. They're not trying to give you freedom. They're trying to take it, make you more malleable to their Marxist vision. And I think this is the trial of our times.
I know in the United States, there's been President Trump has had serious concerns about Title IX, and you mentioned that just a little bit ago. Do you have any comment about President Trump opposing Title IX and how it's been misused?
I think the point, and it's the same technique always. You have malleable terms, mm-hmm. and you have a lack of transparency, and then you rig the game, wokecraft, and you see, let's take Claudine Gay for instance. Before she was the head of the university, if you look at her actions, she was the commissar of the diversity. And the funny thing is, every commissar of diversity never gets to a point where he says, okay, we have enough diversity, now I'm done. No, there's always more, because diversity is just the cause du jour, right? It's whatever gives me the ability to grab power, subvert the rigorous process that is supposed to be there, and then I could use it to police or punish, and at the end of it, you lose. It's like you infiltrate an institution, a community institution, whether it's university or schools or legislative or the judicial process, and you spend the social capital and to advance what you wanted, and then you move to another institution and infest it, and it's all according to what you want. It's not according to some stable morals. It's just I am the power, I need more power, and I want to take it from the unwoke, unenlightened, those that believe in godly morals and this old thing called the Ten Commandments. So this is a religion hiding in plain sight, as if it's not religion, as if it's some scientism or some holding of all the wisdom that we don't need to deal with. Why am I throwing all this past wisdom away? No, I have this new shiny thing here. Everybody look over here. Why will detaching your children from their roots?
I want to ask you, what would your message be to President Trump on these serious concerns about UNRWA, UNESCO?
I think that America was founded on Judeo-Christian values, and universities and foreign international actors want to concentrate power to break that. As Barack Obama said after he got elected, we are 5 days from fundamentally changing the country. And this is what they want to do. They want to take the liberty, they want to take the values, they want to take the American way and shape it to what they see as some point of utopian vision. Remember, when they started taking over in the 60s, the students used to chant Marx, Mao, Marcuse. That was their chant, and they understood that doing it in a overtly violent way didn't work. Black Panthers, Weather Underground. So what happened? They went into the institutions, and while we were happy to see the Iron Curtain fall and see what the President Reagan did, they completed with the help of Henry Giroux their organizational control of the education system in America in the 80s. So now we see what they do. They take over the institutions, and they have no care over the values of the parents. And
very serious concerns, and thank you for sharing so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm Dr. Anthony Harper here, blessed to be in the Knesset with, and your name again?
Benayahu, Ben Shabbat.
Ben Shabbat.
Yes.
Yes. Israeli names a little bit challenging sometimes to say.
Yeah, I can understand that.
It's great to be with you concerning some serious issues that are going on here, and the organization you're with.
My organization, who I work for, called Im Tirtzu, if you will it. It's after the famous sentence of Herzl, if you will it, it's not a dream. He said it about the Zionist country, and it was right. And now my organization are working on promoting Zionist ideas in the Israeli society.
Benayahu. Benayahu.
Yes.
It's great to join you here on this issue. For you to share another concern I know that you have about civil servants and how they are obstructing the law. What are your concerns about that?
Yes, my personal experience with those civil servant that obstructing the government and the public work and will. It was when we helped pass 2 bills against the anti-Semitic organization called UNRWA. Im Tirtzu, my organization, was been pushing a campaign against UNRWA for years. We explained to the public the danger of UNRWA, how they teaching young children to terrorism and to hate, and to glorify death. And after the 7th of October, everyone in Israel, unfortunately, knew who UNRWA was. They was the legitimation umbrella for the Hamas. They work with Hamas, they work for Hamas, and we know about UNRWA workers who came here in Israel, to the kibbutzim, and slaughtered and kidnapped Israel civilians. So we decided that UNRWA is the end now, and we launched a big campaign here in Israel to close them. And we work very closely with some Knesset members who help us to push this campaign and to close UNRWA for the Knesset, from the Knesset, and gladly we succeeded.
And who are those Knesset members?
There are just a list of names, but I'm hope I will remember everyone. It's Boaz Bismuth, Yulia Milinovsky, Dan Iluz, Ron Katz, Limor Sonar Melech, Amita Levi,
Simcha Rotman in there?
Yuli Edelstein was the head of the committee, and a few more that I maybe I will remember later. Sorry for not remembering everyone. And
it's so important to understand. I know for the Knesset members, involvement on these very crucial issues because of those the UNRWA and the UNESCO being anti-Israel, really just indoctrination, and also propaganda. I've heard concerns about.
The big problem with UNRWA, it's not the main problem with UNRWA. It's not the terrorism that they are teaching young children to. It's the idea of UNRWA. They are established in the 50s after the 48 war, or the independent war in Israel, and they're established for one and only one reason, is to keep the idea of the lie of the Palestinian nation, the Palestinian people, alive through the cards, like איך אומרים פליט? Refugee, they given a refugee status to the Palestinian, and it's not happening anywhere with not any refugee in the world, that it's passed from father to son and so on and so on. And like that, they keep in the idea of return. The idea of returns means the annihilation of the Jewish state, or the only Jewish state. And that's what UNRWA are established for, and that's what they are doing. They're keeping food to the people, they're giving food, jobs, whatever they're saying they are doing, only to keep the idea of return alive. And gladly we managed to pass those two bills. The first bill and the important one, though both of them are important, but in the first paragraph in the Milinovsky law, is saying that we cancel the agreement that we had with UNRWA in '67. It's called the Comey letters. It was Michael Comey was advisor to the foreign minister. נכון? שר החוץ? He was advisor for the foreign minister and foreign. He was advisor for the foreign minister, and he had the exchange letters with UNRWA or the UN and in those letters we gave them immunity and also a few more privileges to come and work with the refugees. And we cancelled those agreements. That's saying that UNRWA does not have any immunity. All right.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want you to comment kind of a related issue, the concerns you have about deep state.
Yes, I'm going to there. So after we canceled the immunity, and we in the laws says that UNRWA cannot operate in Israel, and there's no any and there's any Israeli גורם ישראלי, איך אני להגדיר את זה?
No Israeli
גורם ישראלי, פקיד.
Executive.
איך?
Executive.
No Israeli executive can be in touch with UNRWA. So they can't operate here, they have no immunity, and they cannot come to Israel to work. So it looked like Mashiach is here, and the Messiah is here, and that we banned UNRWA from operating here. But think again, like always happened, the civil
servant.
the civil servant decided otherwise, and they decided that UNRWA still have the immunity, and what we know
legal bureaucracy.
איך?
legal bureaucracy.
לא הבנתי, לא משנה. And they decided that UNRWA still have immunity, and what I know about that UNRWA is still operating with some Israeli איך אמרנו גורם ישראלי? יונתן, מה אמרת מקודם המילה?
Israeli representative.
That UNRWA working with Israeli representative. And that's how the civil servant, the deep state, are blocking this terror organization to be extinct, UNRWA.
I know in the United States, President Trump has had problems with deep state as well, and President Trump defunded UNRWA and stopped support of UNESCO as well. So, what would your final message to President Trump on that matter?
President Trump I have nothing to say except just to say thank you very much, President Trump, and I hope it will work, that in UNRWA and UNESCO and the WHO even will be extinct, because those are anti-Semitic organization, corrupt organization who are interfering with human rights and doing horrible job all over the world, and here in Israel, like UNRWA, they are teaching to terrorism. UNESCO are keeping those terrorism and those horrible stuff still happening, and I hope that President Trump will do that job to extinct them.
Thank you for sharing these so important concerns.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Dr. Anthony Harper here, blessed to be in the Knesset building here, the nation of Israel, here in Jerusalem, and eternal city of Jerusalem. And so I'm with Yonatan Segeb, and your top concerns that you have here in Israel are?
The World Health Organization, the relationship between Israel, sovereignty, and what is connection with the World Health Organization. And first of all, I want to bless you and thank you so much on you and what you're doing in Israel. You bring media, there's nowhere other places. So thank you on that. I'm part of a team for an independent Israel of doctors, attorneys, economists, a lot of professionals, we together research more than 3 years, and we understand what it's the state, the United States understand already, the problem with the relationship with the World Health Organization and the state, because who don't want health? Who don't want like a good relationship with other states? Everybody wants it. Everybody, but the problem is this organization start to be very political and very corrupted, and by his new agreement, he tried to take responsibility beyond the state, beyond our Knesset, our parliament, beyond of the government, and this is wrong because he tried to promote it in a way that nobody can understand it. And what we did with those amazing people, amazing, and in a very good connection with United States, like the Sovereignty Coalition of Frank Gaffney and Reggie Littlejohn, that even Reggie Littlejohn, Attorney Reggie, come from United States to Israel just for a Knesset debate. There was 3 debates, public debate on the regulation and the question if Israel need to stay or drop from the WHO. We know already Trump get out the state from the WHO. The process already start. This is process taking 1 year. Argentina, and those are very big allies of Israel. Actually, what Trump doing to Israel give us a lot of hope. So in so many things, and you know, this is amazing opportunity that we must understand. How can we promote it in this time to do together? Because the world is watching, and I know more and more countries don't really understand what is the dangerous that the organization take responsibility from the country to tell other country what they need to do. This is those are big question. And when we read those agreements, we understand in the IHR, the International Health Regulation, there are 66 articles and nine access, and in those disagreements we understand there are more than 25 very problematic that harm the sovereignty of the country and the sovereignty of the people. Like this is unbelievable. It's like if you read agreement, if you sign an agreement, you want to read the agreement. You cannot sign an agreement, you cannot read it. And not our parliament understand it. And just like UNRWA and like more agency, those executives try to promote it, like a lot of people that, you know, Trump and Bibi call deep state, but those are people with name, people with job. And I want to tell something about the deep state, what we understand about it. Those people maybe have good attention, they come to do their job, but what is the problem? The problem is the foreign interest, then not the interest of the country, more important to them. The interest not of the best of the state, more important, they want quiet, and this is a problem, because they take decision without the state, and this is a big problem. If the state not involved on issue, not just on health, on economy, on security of the country, on education, so many topics. This is a big issue, and this why they earn the name deep state.
Yeah, you mentioned sovereignty. This has been brought up. President Trump honored Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. But the really important issues that I've talked with people here about is sovereignty over Judea, Samaria, the Jordan Valley, the heartland of Israel, very historic biblical land. So I'd like to ask you, what would you say, or what would you ask President Trump right now regarding Israel's sovereignty over Judea, over Samaria, Jordan Valley, the heartland of Israel?
You touch my heart and the heart of the people of Israel, because Israel doing what everybody expects from Israel to do. But this is the first time that Israel start to understand we have the courage to do that. The courage, we can do it. This is an opportunity of window. And this opportunity of those window, it's a lot because of Donald Trump. Because if you let's not talk about state. Let's talk about a person. a person to have a big decision must to have friends to believe him. And this is what Trump doing. He show Israel, he believe in Israel. To give Israel the power and the will to do the most basic thing. To understand this is us. This is not part of someone else. Those holy places is part of Israel, and Israel must to be complete, and everybody can agree and understand this is the basic thing. Because if us Israel don't say yes, this is ours, this is part of our home, nobody else will do it. And Trump in a very smart way supporting us with his love and his caring and understand. I taking care on my sovereignty. It's very important that you will take care on your sovereignty. And in a very good time, the Knesset supported, and we already started, and I know a lot of the House member in the state supporting that, and the Senate, and this is amazing time. This is more than that, because this is friendship. This is historic time, because this is building of friendship to understand how can we support not just country and states, how we can support the people. And this is historic time for us.
In the news has been the French Prime Minister, the UK Prime Minister, and the Canada
Germany.
Germany.
Yeah.
Supporting this delusion, for a lot of evangelical Christians, see a delusion of a Palestinian state, or the issue of the myth of Palestine. For I know historically that there is no Palestine. How would you? What is your concern about how the Palestinian state idea threatens Israel's security? And I know that the Palestinian state idea has been promoted in the heartland of the Judea.
I think if France so much wants state of the party, can invite them to France, to have a country in France, if it's so supporting that. If we want to take responsibility on this move, we can, maybe Germany, maybe the Palestinians can come to Germany, or maybe to come. But this is one of the biggest problem. People say, oh, those people like this or like that. They don't understand. I'll give you an example. I talk from starting the World Health Organization, the WHO. If they know that the WHO taking data, false data on children and women that die, just taking false information, take this data from the Ministry of Health of Gaza and take this false data to the UN and all do very lot of budget on the public relation in all the country, in all the countries of the UN, and if everybody think Israel doing massacre in Gaza, and this is not true at all, and this is facts. IDF is the most moral army. Yes, there's war, there's wounded, like any war, but what they take it, if it was on the opposite side, Israel was not exist. So to take this stand of France, Germany, they don't understand deeply the story of Israel, and this is a big problem, to take the decision to take one side without understand. So if I'm homeless without home, and I come, give me 1 shekel or few shekel, oh, you put, so this is exactly like that. You must understand the story of the person there. You start to understand everything to take decision in such a big level, because you cannot even understand how Israel need to deal facing the international media to explain ourselves. This is unbelievable, and because of Trump and because of our friend, they give us our courage to understand the good way, and we're learning, because right now we look like that, because the first important thing is to save on our interest of Israel, to understand, just a moment, understand Israel right now in a critical time. We have a critical decision. We must have support, not to take and do propaganda. And what happened right now is propaganda against Israel, and this is wrong. If Germany, if Canada, if all the states that come against Israel was smart, they would do homework, not just say, oh, this is touching my heart, maybe we do it. No, be smart, be responsibility. This is what we're asking. We're asking responsibility to understand the big picture.
You know, finally, I hear the concerns about the Palestinian Authority, and know it's been often referred to as a terrorist organization with their pay to slay. But you know, the threat that the Palestinian Authority is on Israel. So, what is your concern about the steal of the land, how that impacts Israel's sovereignty?
My concern is those in Palestine don't want the state of Israel. It's very simple. The people of Gaza want to destroy Israel. It's very simple like that. And you cannot have a relationship with someone that wants to kill you. You cannot have a relationship with someone that wants to destroy you. So how much, and because there's a lot of Arabs in Israel. Arabs, they are doctors, Arabs, they are in the Knesset, in all our society. We have amazing relationship, but when it comes to decision to give rights to those that want to kill you, this is a big problem. This is a big problem, and there's a lot of misunderstanding. It's very easy to see one narrative, but you must to see all the picture and then take decision. Not to say what is more convenient and take decision. You must to see all the picture and then take a very smart and responsible decision. This is what I, a citizen from Israel, expect from the Prime Minister or President of other country, because we have a very good relationship with so many things. I don't know which achievement have to Gaza except of give the Hamas what they want to abuse their people. This is what they're doing there. If they give them more rights, they're going to more abuse their people. This is so simple. And it's like to give, if you are in school, it's like give the prize to the most problematic children in the neighborhood. This is exactly the same.
These are so important issues for Israel's survival.
Yeah.
Thank you for addressing those concerns here, Jonathan.
I have no words. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Israel. Thank you so much your effort to come to Israel on this interview. I know you're meeting with so many decision makers, with MKs and ministers and the Prime Minister. Thank you so much for what you're doing for Israel and for the state. Thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you.
I want to remind people, there's a blessings for those that bless Israel. Genesis 12:3, evangelical Christians talk about the Jewish scripture about Joel, chapter 3, verse 2, about God's anger actually towards people that scatter His people, the Jewish people, and divide up His land. So think seriously about these warnings and to be a blessing to Israel, because that is key, really, for the safety of Israel and the world.
I have no words, dear Matthew. Thank you. God bless you. God is big. Thank you. Thank you. This is a big bless to meet with you. Thank you so much.
It's good to talk with you.